Takes a minute. Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness. Okay, so good morning, guys. Happy whatever day of the week this is. I've lost track completely. I am joined today by the lovely and crazy intelligent Liz Wilcox. I am so thankful for you being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for calling me intelligent. That made me feel really good this morning. I used to be a blogger, and my first product was, no joke, like a book about poop. And I felt like so many people didn't see like the smart, intelligent side of Liz Wilcox. And I ended up selling that business because it was like, just one of those instances where you go way too far into an area. And I was like, I'm actually really smart. I have a master's degree. I need to sell this. I went too far. So thank you. That was really lovely. Thank you.
Absolutely. Because I do think that you're crazy intelligent. And I love the way that you are fully you in all of your marketing and just in showing up in every way on the internet. So before I get too gushy and like fangirly, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in copywriting and just online business?
Yeah, so I'm Liz Wilcox, and you know that feeling you get when you watch a YouTube video like this or listen to a podcast, and there's some email marketer that's just hyping you up and telling you how much ridiculous amounts of cash you can make with emails. And so, you log into ActiveCampaign or ConvertKit or MailChimp, and you're like, okay, I'm going to send an email today. And then you promptly feel like really stupid because you have no idea what to say. Well, I help eliminate that problem. And I already mentioned earlier, I started off as a blogger. I was actually an RV travel blogger. I created something like a dozen digital products in 3 years, created my own summit, had a course, you name it. I tried it out. And it was actually my digital course was the last product I created for that business. And I had 141 people on my wait list. And I did the traditional Monday through Friday open close cart. And on cart close day, I had made 141 sales. So word got around. Yeah, crazy. Just saying it sounds like a sleazy like webinar thing, but it actually happened to me. Word got around about it. They were like, what the heck? Why are you selling books about poop? Like, you're actually crazy intelligent. We need to know how you did that. So I sold that blog. I went all in on email marketing. And now this is the Liz Wilcox you see today.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
That's quite a roundabout way of getting there, but that's really awesome.
Yeah, so, I was just going to say, I find a lot of marketers, they start off as service providers, right? They work under someone else. They learn tricks of the trade. They find their own way of doing it. And then they build their own products. And so I find my unique approach is because I started off as, like you, very B2C, right? And I had to carve my own way. And I found a lot of the methods that traditional marketers were sharing. I was like, this is kind of, it's like B2B to B to B to B to B. And I was like, that doesn't really apply to people that don't want to pay for the internet. That's not really going to work. I've got to figure out another way. So that's when I knew, I could serve a lot more people.
I love that. That's awesome. And I think is really important to remember is everything comes back to like serving your people. In our emails, like sometimes that gets lost a little bit, but it's a really important grounding thing to remember. Okay, so one of the questions that I had was kind of like starting out, basically. Like, so when you're first starting out, a lot of people are afraid of hitting send on like that first email. I know it's that like my list is so small. I feel silly sending an email. So what's your biggest piece of advice to help people get over that fear?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are still some emails. I sent out an email yesterday talking about my launch and giving away all the numbers. And I was super nervous about that as well. I was like, oh my gosh, is this going to come off as braggy? Is this, especially a lot of my people, one of my values is affordability. And here I am talking about, thousands of dollars. And I'm like, oh. So that fear, it always lives with you. You just can't let it, take the wheel. It's, and so what I want you to think about when you're emailing is just, again, like this mindset thing of these people gave you permission. They want you to email them. They signed up for your freebie. They met you at, a networking event, whatever. However they got on your email list, they gave you permission to send them emails. They want to know more about you and about what you have to offer. So I follow something called the email staircase. First, you have a follower, then a friend, then a customer. So if you're trying to build a list full of friends, just think of it like that. Like, okay, let's say Caroline and I, we went to high school together. We haven't seen each other in 10 years. Suddenly, like we bump carts in the grocery store. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're here. Wow. Yeah, I'm visiting my parents too. Oh, do you still listen to NSYNC? Oh yeah, I heard Joey Fatone. He was at the 90s con last week. It was super cool. Hey, why don't I get your number? I've got some, I have to go. The kids are screaming. But I've got some really juicy gossip about Justin Timberlake I want to tell you. Okay, sure. It's that type of interaction, that type of friend, like someone they have, Caroline and I, we are really excited to talk about, what the boys have been up to in the 2020s, right? And so when somebody signs up for your list, if I sign up for your list, I'm very that same energy of, oh my gosh, yes, I want to hear more. That's the exact same energy they're bringing. Whether you are, a homestead blogger or you sell jewelry on Etsy or something like that, they want to know more. They're like, yes, I love these necklaces, or, oh my gosh, I really want to be a homesteader one day. Teach me your ways. They're bringing that energy. So just match that. Like, okay, yes, this person, they want to know all the juicy gossip about chickens. I'm going to send them, I'm thinking homesteading for some reason. Like, I'm going to send them all the links to my best, the best places to buy chickens, right? So just thinking of it like that hopefully will help you, despite the fear of, oh gosh, you can't hit send, right? Just hit send, start to open up those relationships and, eventually make money with it.
Yeah. So do you believe that there is such a thing as my list is too small?
No way. I love a small list. So for me, especially when you follow the email staircase, when you have 100,000 people on your email list, you start to disconnect. And especially when you're first building or you're first working on email marketing, it's really important to kind of get in the trenches, really ask for replies, turn that one to many, right? I might be sending one email to 30 people, but if you can turn it into one-to-one, you're going to start opening up those relationships. You're going to start to get to know people. And, you can really then turn them into customers. I always say, like, if you have a list full of friends, you can literally just ask them, like, hey, I came up with this idea. Do you want it? Like, send me $20 type of thing. That's how, my book about poop that I joke about, I did not come up with that. That was my subscribers. I had a very small list. It was at the time of the idea, maybe like 200 people. And I really didn't know what I was doing. And I said, why do you follow me? Sometimes I talk about this. Sometimes I talk about that, the curse of the blogger, right? Like, you just want to write about everything at first. And they said, well, Liz, you're really funny and you can tell a good story. So I was like, oh, I should create a book of funny stories. And that's where my first digital product idea came from. But if I would have had a giant, if I would have bought a list or something, nobody would have known who I was. They wouldn't have taken me seriously, like, as a real person. And you can really use that to your benefit when you're first starting out. You can say things like, no, really, I only have 100 people on this list, or I only have 10 people. I would love a reply. I'm really trying to make this work. And just being transparent. Caroline said something earlier, like, oh, Liz is just herself. Like, just being yourself, being transparent. People love that stuff, right?
It's so true. Okay. That's fantastic. I love that. So I never want to hear anybody ever say again, my list is too small. I never want to hear.
Yeah. You can,
said with love. Like,
Yeah. Tough love. Yeah, you can, you've really got to open up those relationships. You can, find out what people want to buy, why they're on your list. What is it about you specifically? I mean, there's a million email marketers out there. Like, I didn't invent email, right? But why did she ask me on the show today, right? There's a unique thing about Liz Wilcox. There's a unique thing about you that people are attracted to. And once you can figure that out, you can lean into it, create better products, create, the right offers for your people, and have those crazy conversion rates. Like I said, 141 people on the wait list, 141 sales. Like, that's mind blowing. But it all starts with that very small list, getting to know people and, building from there.
Perfect. So if you had to boil it down, what is the most important email that everybody needs to send? Like,
Oh
if you had
my
to
gosh, this is the best question I've ever been asked. Thank you. In general, you need a welcome sequence. You have to onboard people, so to speak, but within the welcome sequence, and I can boil it down to one freaking sentence. There has to be an email that sets expectations. The same way when you listen to a podcast and, the host grabs the mic and he's talking about, oh, on today's episode, blah, blah, blah. The same way, when you're in college, they give you an entire syllabus. This is what we're doing for the entire semester, right? Every time I give a training, I have a whole slide that says the agenda, right? You've got to set expectations. You have to tell them what is coming. People opt into so many email lists. I was just looking before this call about, oh yeah, I have hundreds of emails a day that I just ignore. Why do they ignore it? Because no one set the expectation of, I expect you to open these emails. I'm going, here's what I'm going to do, and here's what I want you to do, right? So you've got to have an email that is, I call it the newsletter expectations. And basically the conversion of that, what you want people to do is basically like nod their head in agreement, like, yes, this is what I need. This is what I want. I'm in, right? And so for me, it says something like, tons of laughter and real advice about email, right? Okay. That sounds good, Liz. Okay. And then, like you can join my Facebook group where you'll get, Q&As, blah, 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 whatever else. But the one bullet, the one sentence that I want you to have, if this is the ding, ding, ding moment, like if you learn nothing else from Liz Wilcox, let it be this, right? Get your pen out, pause the recording. You have to say, I am going to offer you free and paid products, free and paid services, free and paid whatever word you want to use, even if you don't have any yet. I put this in. I don't know how I came up with this, but somebody was like, they have to know you're a business. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to tell them I'm going to offer them paid products. I had 0 paid products when I put this into my sequence. But when I went to sell that silly book, people were expecting it. People were, oh, she is going to sell me something. You set the expectation, especially, as a blogger or, some kind of content creator. We all have heard those stories of, I had 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and when I launched my course, I made 0 sales. How does that happen? Because you've set the expectation that you are a free content creator and you are making money with ads, right? So they think, why should I give you money? You're an e-beggar. You make money from ads. Like, I'm not giving you anything. You've set that expectation. So when they get into your email address or email list, you need to set the expectation that of course, you're going to offer some free stuff, right?
Yep.
They probably came onto your list from something free, but you are going to offer paid products. Even if you don't have them yet, put that sentence in there. It's got to be in there somewhere. It's great if you have an entire email outlining other expectations. Like, I'm going to send you an email every Tuesday. I'm going to offer you tons of advice. I'm going to, send free and paid products. I'm going to, go live in my Facebook group, whatever. But that one bullet, free and paid, It's
Yeah.
going to change your whole life. I guarantee it.
And that's so simple, but it's so effective. I think that you actually shared that at one point inside of the email marketing membership, and I immediately put it into my welcome sequence. I'm like, this is genius. Never
Yeah,
thought of it.
it just flips a switch in the back. Like if somebody reads that, they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Like, and if they don't like it, that's also the email where you're going to get the most unsubscribes, because you're going to get people that are like, no, that, I don't need an email every Tuesday. I don't need your products. I just wanted this freebie. And that's totally fine, because you pay for your email list. You want them off if they're not going to purchase, if they're not going to, if they don't want what you are offering. Right.
Yeah. So that is fantastic. First off, I never thought of it that way. Guys, it seems like YouTube's having some trouble. I don't know why, but it's still recorded. So we're going to carry on and just kind of play with the internet being the way that it is today. Okay, because I don't know about you, I sometimes break internets, like not in like a Kim Kardashian way, but in a the internet just doesn't like me.
Yeah, I get it. I used to have a live YouTube show while traveling, and I don't know how I did it. I was like one time my computer just turned off. Luckily the RV crowd was very, they're all retired. They're just at a campground, so they're like,
Yeah.
well, she'll come back if she comes back.
Very forgiving in the RV crowd. That's
Yeah,
too
they really
funny.
were.
Okay, so let's talk about some like really easy things like open rates and subject lines really quick. So is there, for subject lines, I'm going to squish these together because I think that they're kind of like, I don't know, I could be wrong. Tell me your opinion on if subject lines you think affect open rates.
I think honestly, I believe your welcome sequence will affect your open rate for the entirety of someone being on your email list. If you nail your welcome sequence, if you set those expectations, if you intro in a certain way, then your subject lines can be crappy.
Yeah.
Because they're going to love you anyway. You lead a welcome sequence, you should lead with a little bit of personality, your vision and values. And if they're on board with those three things, they're going to open your name, not your subject. Right. So they're going to say, oh, that's Caroline. I know, she set expectation. She said she was going to send on Tuesday. Here she is. She has the same values as me. I wonder what she's up to this week. I'm going to click that. Right. And of course, you don't want to just give up on your subject lines. Right. But you want, the emphasis is more on your business than the subject line. You want people to search out your name. So the inbox is the same as a mailbox. I've got a piece of mail here. Okay. And so you behave the exact same way. So you go out to the mailbox, you've got a couple things, right? Oh, John moved years ago. That's a bill. I'm going to put it on the counter because I know it's not due for 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, Caroline sent me something. I'm going to open this right away. Right? You don't know what's in it, but it's from somebody that you love and you're excited about, and you cannot believe what, you can't wait to see what's inside, right?
Yeah.
You want that same thing in the inbox. So, and we act the exact same way. And so if you can become that name, this is what's going to happen. So, okay, that's spam. I meant to unsubscribe last week. I'll do that later. That's a bill. I know I don't need that right now. Oh my gosh, Liz Wilcox. I wonder what she has to say today. They're not even looking at the subject line, right? Yeah. So that's my take on subject lines. Of course, you want to write a subject line as a friend, right? We're building a list of friends. So something like, top 5 ways to stalk Justin Timberlake is not going to do as well as, something like, use this to find Justin Timberlake in LA, right? Something like that, right? That's something that I would literally email Caroline, or if I was emailing her after this, I would say something, thanks for the interview. It wouldn't, it would be, following up about yesterday at 10 a.m. right? That's something that you would type into Google, right? I would type in top 5 ways to, spot Justin Timberlake, right? Let's use a less offensive word than stop. But
Follow.
yeah, right. Amen. I love that. But in the inbox, we're not typing in subject lines. We're not typing in email marketing to look for Liz Wilcox, right? We use it completely different. And so when you write for a friend, that stands out to us. But really what I want you to really know is how to get your name to stand out versus the subject line. And that's with, consistency, staying relevant, staying top of mind, investing time in your people, right? Like I said, getting replies, replying back. Oh, that's Liz. I talked to her last week. I'm definitely opening this one. Does that make more sense?
Oh, yeah. That's perfect. I love the way that by the way, that mail example is blowing my mind. I love that so much. Completely.
I wish I had my sound effects.
I know. I know. You need a soundboard. That's the next thing you got to get. So for open rates, a lot of us see like the vanity metric of or not like a vanity metric, but like you see an open rate and it's like, well, so-and-so on the internet said that anything under 50% open rate is actual garbage. And now I feel bad because, oh, girl, if I had a nickel for how many like ridiculous things I have heard about, like, if you don't have this number subject line or this number click rate or this number open rate and this percentage or number of like unsubscribes, you are garbage at email marketing. I'm like, that doesn't feel right. I know.
Everybody does it.
I know, right? Like, so as far as open rates go, I know a lot of us get like, oh, well, I didn't get the magic whatever number so-and-so said. What can we do to increase open rates on emails if we've been sending them, but maybe not as regularly as we should? What is like one piece of advice that you could give for that?
Sure. So I want to put an asterisk here because at the time of this recording, March 2022, Apple iOS updates have kind of obliterated this open rate thing. They've been out since about August or September 2021. Mm-hmm. And while they are not like, they didn't blow it up out of the water, right? Yes. They're not as reliable. So I wouldn't be putting all your eggs into the open rate basket. Mm-hmm. Of course, just me personally, I still look at my open rate. Of course, like I'm a person with eyeballs, and that is what my email service provider is showing me. But I don't put as much stock. Mm-hmm. And this is actually, I want to say this is actually painful for me because I was one of the people to be bragging about my open rates. When I sold my business after 3 years, my open rate for my email list was over 47%. So this was something that I really, really spent a lot of time on learning about open rates. And then suddenly like my expertise, my signature workshop was kind of like, whatever, Liz. But so I just want to say that, but I do want to say you can still look at your open rate for consistency. So if it's consistently 30% and then it jumps up to 35, you can, while you might not know if the number is accurate, you can know that it's consistently accurate, right? Like, we don't know the exact number, but we do know it probably did jump 5%, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So as far as getting your open rate up, again, you've got to nail that welcome sequence. It can be really simple. It's 4 emails, just real quick. The first email is a freebie and a quick intro, right? Just get in and out of there. You do not want to, stay too long. And if, like Caroline said, you already have a list right now and you're just looking to re-engage them, use this welcome sequence as a re-engagement sequence, right? Send these 4 emails over the next 4 days. And just instead of saying like, hey, welcome to my world, just say, hey, I thought you might not have ever used my freebie before. I want to send it to you again. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, how did she know? Is she in my computer? Right? Because who uses freebies? Yeah. We have so many, right? Yeah. And so just, reintroducing myself. And then just in one sentence, you've got to share your vision, right? And your vision is like, what do you want them to accomplish. Let's say there's a university, right? You're graduating from Liz Wilcox University. What is your degree in? For me, it's make money with email, right? So I say something like, as much as I love the 90s, I love the idea of you making money with email even more. Talk to you later, right? So as you could, steal that. As much as I love X, some bit of personality you put in your brand, I love the idea of you doing Y even more. Boom, suddenly everybody knows, like, okay, we're on the bus together. Yes, that's what I want. I'm going with Caroline on that, right?
Yeah.
And so the second email is just send them some of your best content. Hey, not sure if you ever saw this, but here you go. For me, I love doing videos like this. I want people to know that I do trainings. I have a Q&A in my membership. For me, I just send out a video that's got like, my top tip for email or something. And it's just like a, hey, nice to meet you type of thing. The third email is that newsletter expectations, right? Setting those bullet. I'm going to email you on Tuesdays. I'm going to send you free and paid products. I'm going to go live on Instagram. I'm going to, upload a YouTube video every week. I'm going to blog, whatever, right? Whatever you actually do in your business, just outline it there. Mm-hmm. And then what you want to do after the bullet points, or after, you set those expectations, here's how you get replies. Just write out, like, hit reply, I'm in, if all this sounds good to you. I'd love to have you, inside lizwilcox.com, the inbox crew. You can come up with a fun name, whatever. This is really going to re-engage people or engage them if you're doing a welcome sequence, and get those open rates up. If you really want to get open rates up, bringing it back, you've got to get replies. If you get a reply, that puts you in the inbox. If you are in enough people's inboxes, I call it the internet gods, whatever technology is out there that decides spam or inbox. If you get enough people to reply, enough people that, Caroline goes into the inbox, when Liz Wilcox joins, oh, well, she's already got 100 people that have replied to her. She must be important. We're going to put it into Liz's inbox too. So that's another reason why you want replies on top of actually getting to know your people. Mm-hmm. It is a deliverability thing, and it does affect your open rate in the best way possible, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then that fourth email, you just want to share your big why. This is where, if they've made it this far, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Those expectations. Oh, the vision. Awesome. I've got that. Got some content. I like the way she thinks. Okay. Then we share the big why. Then we share why is it we do what we do, right? For me, hey, I had that crazy course launch. People were like, that's actually impossible. I was like, actually, no, here are my receipts. And when I realized so many people didn't know how to do this, I sold the blog, went all in on this, right? That's my big why. What is the reason you are in your line of work? And we keep that at the very end because, we've got to get them through the technical stuff first for them to like, okay, yeah, I really care. I hope that's helpful.
Oh yeah, that was incredibly helpful. I'm not bothering to take notes, not because I don't have notes to take, but because I know I can go back and watch this again. Because there's too many notes. Because that was incredible. Thank you.
You're welcome. And what I want to say is, as you watch this, I know I give a lot of information, and, chunk it out, just like she just said. And what I really want for you is just to do the one thing. Like, okay, yes, I can put that sentence in there, or I have time in the next 3 days to write out that whole email, or, I'm going to block out in 2 weeks to rewrite my welcome sequence. Like, whatever it is you're getting fired up about right now, I want you to put it in your calendar, but I only want you to pick one thing, like one thing that is you're actually capable of right now, that you have the real capacity for. And then, like Caroline said, like, this is recorded. You can come back. I'm not going anywhere. YouTube links work forever, right? Yep. So just come back to it. I know I'm giving a lot of info right now.
No, that was fantastic. Like, that was everything. So, which brings kind of me back to like one of the things that we had spoken about a little bit, which is kind of like the tone of voice that you use inside of emails. I think that both of us are at the point where we're cool being total weirdos and like being fully ourselves in our emails. But do you remember ever, or maybe this is just me, when you first started and you were like, no, I have to be ultra polished. I have to sound professorial. I have to sound professional. Like the tone, I have to mute myself a little bit if I want to sell content, if I want to sell my stuff, if I want people to take me seriously. Do you think that there's anything that you can suggest to people who feel like they have to change their tone of voice to kind of find themselves again in email? That was a loaded question, I know, but like, was that actually a question?
Sure. She said a lot of big words that went over my head. Professorial. Is that a real word?
It is.
I am crazy intelligent, but I will say people are always surprised at how low my vocabulary is. But that's why I do so well online, because you shouldn't be writing more than a 5th grade level, guys. Like that's my number one tip. If you think you have to be polished, professional, whatever, first of all, I want you to think about your audience. Who the heck are you talking to? If you are talking to, what do they call it? C-suite executives, then heck yeah, you better tighten up your tie, buckle your pants, and, write that dissertation for them. But, if you're just a regular old Joe or Jane, you've got that chicken blog or, that jewelry shop, or you sell printables. I want you to be yourself. If you do have a little bit of polish on you, then I want you to show that. If you are, more like me and you're kind of spunky, you got a little pizzazz, I want you to show that too. Actually, I'm going to move my camera. Right here are all the words that I want to identify with in my brand. It says like punchy, witty, relevant, refreshing, bold, scrappy, representative. I want you to think about some of those words that you have for yourself and how can you portray them in your business. Yeah. If you're really struggling with this, whether it's in your blog, on social media, whatever. I know a lot of us have this mindset of if something is going to be public, it needs to be polished. Ooh, that's a good quote. Somebody write that down.
Write that down.
But remember what we learned and I blame our 10th grade English teacher for this, right? Like, the second you go to write something, she's on, Miss England or whatever her name was, Miss Miller, she's on your shoulder telling you, it's got to be 5 paragraphs, and don't you dare introduce something that you didn't say in that first paragraph. And your conclusion better basically just be a summation of this. And, there's got to be segues, and don't do this and don't do that. I want you to throw, just go like that. Ding, like just get her off your shoulder, because that is not how people read online. Think about it like this. I don't have my phone on me. But, if I grab my phone, here, let's just use the mouse. I'm doing this number, right? I'm not actually reading. I'm skimming, I'm scanning, I'm looking for the best parts. And because the phone is only so big, it's not the same as a novel. It's even not the same as, a Word document that I'm reading through in college, whatever. And so people actually prefer to read shorter sentences, paragraphs that only have 2 or 3 sentences in them. Like, forget about the 5 to 7 sentences. It's 2 to 3 now. Yeah. Like, let's move into 2022. And so hopefully, like, just thinking of, if you can't think about it from yourself, like, oh, just relax. Think about it from an actual, like, technical standpoint that people cannot and likely will not read something that's very polished, that's perfectly grammatical, whatever, simply because they're reading on their phone. And the way phones have been designed is not the way a book is designed. Like, our brain literally works different when we are reading on our phones. So hopefully that helps. And then as far as writing, what I want you to do after you've written something, like, just write it like you're never going to send it. And then I want you to read it out loud to yourself. If there are words you are skipping over, delete them. If there are words that sound unnatural to your tongue, like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't actually say that, delete them, put in what you would actually say. If there's something that you want to add that you're, oh, if I was really talking to Caroline, if she was really my friend, I would just say that. Be bold, take 5 seconds of bravery and just say it, right? Chances are, especially if you have a small list, barely anyone's reading anyway. So it's not like you're going to get canceled tomorrow. So hopefully just those like very technical and, quips I've been making help you kind of reframe it so that you can just get your thing out there. And people love personality. The last thing I want to say, I promise, is, there's a reason I say personality, vision, and values, right? People love personality. Look at the Winter Olympics. Who did they have hosting some of those? Kevin Hart and Snoop Dogg. What the heck do they have to do with like skiing? Nothing, but they need personality. The Winter Olympics needed some personality. So what did they do? They went and they hired personalities. The vision, of course, is, they've got to know where you're going, but the values, right? When you insert your values into your business, one of your values might be inclusivity, right? Are you going to talk like a professor if you want to be inclusive? No. And people are connecting with that as well. I hope that makes sense.
That made perfect sense. And like you said, it really comes back to your audience. If you're writing to lawyers, you should probably sound like a lawyer. But if you're writing to busy moms who have like 2 seconds of silence in the car before they open the door from like the grocery pickup line to the madhouse, like you got to write for the mom who has the 30 seconds in the car of silence. Like,
yeah. And speaking of the lawyer thing, I had someone in my Facebook group, they were an accountant, and they said, I have trouble thinking I should be playful. And I mean, there had to be a few dozen comments like, oh my gosh, I would love for my accountant to be a real person. I don't understand when they are writing in this way or whatever. So if you are an accountant or a lawyer, like really think about, how can you bring that personal touch? Like, how can you be yourself? Think about big names in those industries. They always have that personality piece.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And yeah, I do wish my accountant, I do actually have an accountant who's not like a robot, but I'm like, you can be real. Like, that'd be great.
Right.
So the more you are, the better that people will connect with you. Is that a good summation of? Perfect.
Love it. Wow. She's so good at that. I'm obviously like a verbal processor.
No, I love that. See, that's what we all need. We all have the second person who's the other half of our brain. It's like, I can say these things, but you said it too. Like, my brain's broken. It's too early, guys. I have not had enough coffee.
She's doing great. She's doing great.
Okay, so I got your email about your launch yesterday, so I'm going to pick your brain about it.
Please.
It's beautiful and spectacular, and my favorite part was that you included the size of your email list. I think that was actually my favorite part of your email, other than $48,000 over a 3-day sale or whatever it was. Like, amazing. But I love the fact that you were like, I really have 3,000 or 3,200 people on my email list. Because that number is something that like people will only associate with like people who have 100,000 person email lists. Like, you kind of are changing the narrative here, Liz. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That's what I mean about the freaking small list. And to me, so as of right, I hit 4,000 people on my email list during my promo, because I had affiliates promoting. Yeah. Which I was surprised about. I did not ask any affiliates to promote this offer, mainly because I give away the farm, and we can talk about what the offer was. But I give away so much that I can't possibly give my affiliates the amount that I want to give them. So I don't actively promote that affiliates should promote this offer, but people were, which is great. And so my list actually grew to over 4,000 people during that event. But at the beginning, I had about 3,700 people on my list. And yeah, people should, why don't we talk about list size? It's the same as talking about, oh, well, how much do you make, right? Yeah. And even last year when I first launched this offer, I only had, I can look, but I think I only had like 1,000 people on my list. And so just even in the last 4 months, I think my list size has like quadrupled. I don't quote, well, I'm being recorded. I'm like, don't quote me. Let me look. Now I'm interested
We
because
won't hold it against you.
So when my very first year of being in the email marketing game, I built my list to about 800 and I made $80,000. And so you don't,
Wow.
and I did have a service. So I was actively promoting services, which were of course more money than, a $9 membership that I have now. But you don't need a crap ton of people. You just need the right offer. And again, like when you reply to people, when you really get to know them, and then you craft an offer instead of saying like, oh, I've got this course idea, now I need to go build a list around it. If you build a list and then create a product for the people on your list, you do so much better. I have a friend that had a sort of flopped launch like a month ago, and she said it's because I have this product. I built my list. I thought the right people were getting on my list, but they weren't, and they would never buy this offer. So it's all about getting to know your list so you can come up with those crazy conversion rates, right? People are always telling me, well, wait lists don't really convert. I'm like, what are you talking about? I had a wait list of 500 people and I made 400 sales. Like, that's not my experience. Why are you even creating a wait list if you know it's going to convert low? I don't do things that are not efficient, right?
That's amazing.
Thank you. I'm still looking for that darn number.
You'll find it like the second that we moved on to the next question.
Oh, here. So it doubled, not quadrupled. I did have 2,000 people on my list when I first launched this offer. I sent an email out to 2017 people. And I was telling people I would only sell 100. It's $108 offer. And I sold out in 2 hours.
That's amazing.
From 2,000 people. But even, you might be watching, you think, oh, 2,000 people, that's a crap ton. Remember, even when I only had 800, I made $80,000. And when I sold that silly book in my RV site, I had 300 people on my email list. And the first 90 days of that book, I made over $7,000, and it got picked up by an international sponsor.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So you really you can do the most with the little.
Yeah. I love to do the most with the little.
I'm writing that. Somebody write that down.
Somebody's got to write that down. So you had talked about crafting your perfect product, perfect offer. Care to share a little insight on what that process can look like? Like, how do you do that? Because I know a lot of us have products, or at least an idea for a product, or at least the, beginning stages of a product. And we're like, how do I market this to my list? But that sometimes doesn't work, or we've had a flop of that product launch and are like gun shy now.
Yeah.
I thought that this was exactly what they needed, and then nobody bought. So how do we go back to square one of crafting a product that our people actually want?
Yeah, you've got to get your people involved in it. There's no such thing as a solopreneur. I don't like that word. It comes off to me as like, I did it all myself. And that's just impossible, right? Like, it just really is. And so in order to have those crazy conversion rates, I've never launched anything that didn't sell. I don't, it could happen. I'm getting riskier and riskier in my business. I'm getting bolder and bolder. But I think it all comes back to, I know exactly who is on my list. I'm very intentional with everything that I put out online so that I can be very much myself. Like you saw, I literally have words written. I look at them every day of, this is who I want to be, and these are the people that I want to attract, right? Yeah. I've got an entire year of content planned out here. And of course, this is after 5 years. But everything I do is very much on purpose. Every email that I send, any social media post is very much leaning into that personality, that vision for people, and those values. And so as I'm doing this, I'm just telling people number one, what I want to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to sort of, rally the troops around that, right? And also get them involved. So if you've never sold anything to your email list, or you've tried with not as good success as you thought it would, you've got to get people involved. You have to say, okay, well, I only sold 2. I wanted to sell 10. I wonder why that is. Being transparent, or saying, hey, I've got an idea for X. Would you be interested?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 100 people clicked yes, or 2 people clicked yes. I'm going to go for it. What should be in X? I'm thinking I'm going to put this and that. What is the other thing? Please hit reply and let me know.
Yeah.
The next week. Oh, you guys told me this is the other thing. Great. Thank you so much. Always show gratitude, right? Because you are grateful. You want this thing to sell.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm building out the other thing. I've got A, B, what is C? Please help me. Put it, hit reply, or I made a Facebook post. Go comment on it. And even for my online course, this is something I don't think I've ever seen anyone else do. And I need to do it again because it was so fun. I made a trailer for my course, like a movie trailer. And I put in the content that I'd already created, some of the stuff I'd already created. And just like a movie will put out the trailer before they're done filming. They film a few key pieces of the movie and then they start promoting it. You need to do the exact same thing. People have to get excited. They will match your energy level. And it's okay to be scared, afraid, nervous. It's okay to feel those things. But your people need to know that too. They need to know, like, oh gosh, she's really investing a lot of time. She's nervous. Yeah. She must really be working on something, right? This is a real thing. Your people have to know it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Right? And get them involved. Like, you should never create a product entirely in your own head. Your people will tell you exactly what needs to be in there. And this will make the objections go away, right? Like, no one is going to my sales page wondering what's inside. Mm-hmm. I've told them, I've beat them over the head with it. I've asked them, hey, I have A and B. Do you think there should be a C? Oh, really? You think something's missing? What is it? Oh, I just added C. Isn't that great? And so when people are getting to the sales page, it's to buy. It's not to look around and see what the offer is. Is all this making sense?
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic. So as far as, like, you're basically saying, like, you are having an open dialogue of communication with your list the entire time that you're crafting your product.
Yes, 100%. You cannot hold it close to your chest. You cannot. Even Amazon, they're a giant company. They send out a letter every single year. Jeff Bezos himself writes it to his shareholders saying, this is what we did last year. This is what worked. This is what didn't. Here's where we're going to really lean in 2022, 2023. He's been doing this since 1997. Yeah. His shareholders, basically the most important customers he has, right? The people that own shares in his company, know exactly everything behind the scenes. He is not keeping it a secret. He's not like, oh, we're going to reveal Amazon Prime and suddenly it was there. No, it took years of crafting, asking people, even again to the movies. They have testing, right? They get groups of people to watch the movie and tell them what sucks about it. And then they go back and they refilm that stuff, right? They do that with all products. Why are we as digital product people not doing that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's genius. So now I'm going to continue to pick your brain about your launch. So you just had an incredible launch, obviously. Can you give us some insight into where you came up with your marketing plan for it? Like, was this a fly by the seat of your pants? Like, I know I'm going to send X number of emails. I'll come up with them the day of. Or was this something that like you heard from like some amazing internet guru who's like, you must have X number of emails and they have to go out at exactly this time? Does
Sure.
that make sense?
No, that's not my MO. If you can't tell. Yeah, so I've launched many products. I've done several bigger launches. I would always say like I've never done like an A plus, all the things, Amy Porterfield style type of thing.
Hmm.
I always say mine are like B or B plus. When I go all in, it's still like a B plus kind of effort there. And so the offer we're talking about is for my email marketing membership. It's a $9 a month membership. It's always open, but every once in a while I do a basically like you commit to 12 months, you give me $108. That's 9 times 12 months. And I give you the rest of my products completely for free. And anything I create for the next 365 days, you get that for free too. Of course, I can't run that offer right now all the time. So I open it up for my birthday in March and then for Black Friday in November. So, my birthday is coming up. And honestly, at the end of last year, I was feeling really tired. I took 3 weeks off of business and I came back about 8 weeks later. I was still doing things in my business, but I wasn't like full on Liz Wilcox. I was really trying not to take on, any new interviews or, actively list build, all the things I normally actively do. I was really kind of just, I told people like, oh, I'm riding my own coattails. Like I built this membership. I had a big launch at the end of the year for a year. Like I'm just going to, I saved all that cash. I'm just going to ride my own coattails right now because I'm really tired. And so I did. So then I'm like, oh crap, my birthday is coming up. I told everyone that missed the December or the November deal, this is going to be a thing in March. I've got people asking me, I need to get going. And, I got my energy back. And at the same time, my membership got so big, it hit 1,000 people in 1 year. And hopefully this is inspirational. It was all on Google Drive. So there was no actual membership site. It was just like literally every single week I'd email you, hey, here's the link to the new template. And here's the whole drive if you want to play around. So with the more content it got, the harder it was to actually search for content. It was very easy to find that week or that month, but to dig through the archives was really difficult. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to commit. I've got 1,000 people. This is obviously a real thing now. I'm going to pay for a membership site. So I had someone build out the site. And I mention all that because it was also taking a lot of time. And it took time over actually planning a big, B plus Liz Wilcox launch. Mm-hmm. And so by the time I launched, I said, okay, the launch is going to be March 14th through the 18th. That's my birthday week. People will be excited. That's another side note tip. Always launch on your birthday. People will just buy because it's your birthday. Yeah. They'll get excited. I've launched so many things on my birthday. But even that part of saying it's my birthday kind of felt that was part of my marketing plan. But that fell to the wayside because I was so focused on getting this membership site up. I didn't want an influx of new customers into the drive and then have to transfer them into the membership site, a week later. Mm-hmm. I felt like that would confuse people. It would be annoying. And so I was like, I've got to get this thing up. So I got the thing up and transferred the 1,100 people onto the site Sunday evening. Monday morning, I sent the first sales email and I wrote it that morning. I did not plan any of my emails. Normally I do plan some. But I've never even batched emails like newsletters. I just sit down and write it and I hit the send button. That's just my personality. But yeah, so I wrote the sales email Monday and honestly, I only sent to the wait list of about 500 people. And on Tuesday, I was so busy. I did not even get a sales email out to the wait list. On Wednesday, I got up around 5 a.m. to write the email. Thursday, I sent another one that morning. Friday, I meant to send 3 emails. but Friday was my birthday. It was the day like I got my nails done for my friend's wedding. Oh yeah, I was also helping. I was a maid of honor in a wedding that week. And I kept meaning to get back to my laptop to write like a last chance email, but I just never got around to it. But I was still able to make that sale. And I think really the most, like what attributed to my success this month, and I have to look at the numbers really, where number one, I did have affiliates promoting. So I think honestly about a third of the sales came from affiliates. I made 403 sales. So I think, maybe like 120 to 130 were affiliate sales. And then also, again, I had been prepping people for about 4 weeks before the sale went live. I said, hey, this is going to go live next month. Click to join the wait list. Hey, don't forget, this is going live. It's a hell of a deal. Join the wait list. And also, it is a hell of a deal. It's $108. You basically get access to me for everything. Honestly, my business coach is always arguing with me to up the price, but I just refuse. He's like, this is like what you plan on creating this year. That's like a $10,000 membership or like mastermind. I'm like, yeah, but I just want everyone to have it. But again, that's part of my values. And the last thing I want to say about it, I have so much fun promoting this offer. I have so much fun promoting my email marketing membership year round because I've found something again through getting to know my subscribers. I found something that I know people want from me. I know they're looking at me to help them with newsletters. That's something I'm also really good at. And I have a lot of experience email marketing. This thing is my third business. And it's a price that delights me. I love saying it's a $9 membership. I love having the $108. Yep, you commit for a year. I'm going to commit for a year. I'm going to give you everything you need, right? That, it lights me up inside. It makes me so happy to be able to give those things to people and for them to like actually have exactly what they need to make email work. And then plus some. So I think those are the keys to success and why I'm able to just say, oh yeah, I just got up Monday morning and wrote the email because I've built all that foundation. Like I've mentioned the welcome sequence a bajillion times. You've got to have that foundation. If you're building a wall, you've got to start with that first brick, right? I hope that makes sense. I hope this is helpful.
Oh, that made perfect sense. So when you were sending out your emails, were you only sending them to the wait list people or were you sending it to your whole list?
Yeah, I was only sending to the wait list. Honestly, I mean, full disclosure, sometimes I bite off more than I can chew. And I was a part of a few bundles that I don't know, knowingly, unknowingly, honestly, I can't remember. Again, like January was a weird time for Liz Wilcox. Sign that I had to send out solo emails about them. And that week, the same week of my launch, was when I had to send out the solo emails. And so I made a very quick decision to fulfill my obligation. Of course, that's the right thing to do. But that meant maybe losing out on my numbers, maybe not hitting my goal. My goal was 340. I was turning 34, make 340 sales. Wouldn't that be awesome, right? So that was my goal, 340 new members. And so I gave up that idea to fulfill my contract to do the right thing. And so I had to send solo emails to the entire list. And, I just asked, hey, I'm actually in a launch right now. Do you mind if I just subtract who's on my wait list? Because they are getting sales emails, I do have to make money. And they said, oh yeah, of course. So the solo emails went out Tuesday and Friday for promoting different bundles or a summit or something like that. And everybody was happy. But yes, that did box me in so that I could only send out the sales emails to around 500 people. Whereas I had I had over 3,500. And I want to look, I think by the end, I only had, because people were buying or opting out of the wait list. The last email that I sent was only sent to 291 people. So we can imagine, probably almost 200 out of the 500 purchased, and then the others were from affiliates or had found it on social media or something.
That's still awesome. That's still incredible.
Yeah. Woo! My face is getting hot thinking about it. It's crazy.
I know. This is how you know it's a great product. Your cheeks got all flushed when you were like, it's $9. I love it.
I really do. I love this product, and this is just my personality. I love being able to say, like, yes, I can offer my best for a price that really can be for everyone. Like, you can get in, try it out without biting your nails or like having to talk to your husband or something, like that to me feels so good.
That's awesome. Okay, so I have one last question, I guess, which is, if you could boil down all of your copywriting and email knowledge into like one piece of advice, what would it be?
Yeah,
I know it's a loaded question.
No, I know exactly how to answer this. So I always say I'm a 2-step chick. If it takes 3 steps, I'm out. And how I've built my entire business, how I built my email staircase framework, how I've built everything in my business, even the attitude I came with for this interview, is I always ask myself 2 questions whenever I want to take action or whenever I'm thinking about action. Number 1, what would this look like if it was easy? And number 2, what would this look like if it was fun? Because people rarely do anything that's not easy or fun. And so if you can come up with a way to make something easy or fun, you're going to get it done so much faster. You're going to simplify the process, and you're probably also going to make a lot more money.
This is all true. Oh my gosh. So I love that. Letting it be easy and letting it be fun. That's fantastic. Liz, thank you so much for being here. This was like, I'm going to save this for myself and then take notes on it later on like 0.5 speed.
Oh,
so Liz,
awesome.
Where can people find more about you and join this amazing membership?
Yeah, sure. So, of course, I'm an email marketer. I want you to get on my email list, baby. You can go to lizwilcox.com. In the top right-hand corner, you're going to find a hot pink button, the same color as this. It's going to say free email swipes. You can get in there. You can see that welcome sequence or that re-engagement sequence that I was talking about. It's already written. You can take and make it your own. Just go to lizwilcox.com, that hot pink button. And if you are interested in the membership, you want to know what the heck is in that thing, you can go directly to my site, like I said, and just in the menu, you can click products. It's the very first one. It's going to give you a breakdown on that. And for $9 a month, you might as well just try it out. I send you an email newsletter every single week, a template, so you can, again, take and make it your own. And you really have no excuse not to write your newsletter, because I write it for you every single week.
No excuses anymore, everyone. Gotta go do it.
That's my pitch. That's my pitch, and I'm sticking to it. Hope to see you inside.
Absolutely. Liz, thank you so much for joining me today. And hopefully we'll have you back on soon at some point.
I'd love that. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.